Let me say something most people won't tell you. If you don't learn how to subcontract cleaners, your remote cleaning business will eventually break. Not maybe, not someday, it will break. You'll hit a point where a cleaner calls out, a job runs long, you're overbooked, or a same-day request comes in. But instead of growing, you panic. But instead of scaling, you jump in. But instead of acting like a business owner, you act like backup labor. So the business stays small. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you how to subcontract professional cleaners, even other cleaning companies, without losing clients, without losing control, and without losing sleep. Now this part is very important, so listen closely. When I bring on a cleaner, especially another cleaning company, I explain one thing very clearly from the start. Your only job is fulfillment. And that's not an insult, that's protection. Because here's the truth, cleaners don't like awkward situations, and clients don't like awkward situations either. But the fastest way to create awkwardness is to let a cleaner handle the things that they shouldn't be handling. Pricing and money, what was supposed to be included in the service, and major problems or executive decisions about what to do if unexpected situations arise. That puts pressure on them, so this is how I take that pressure away. I tell cleaners this directly when I onboard them. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. I don't want you stuck in a weird conversation. I don't want you having to explain things that you don't control. Because once a cleaner starts talking about price, about what's included, about what's extra, about what they will or won't do, they're exposed. But they didn't set the price. They didn't sell the job. They didn't talk to the client first. So they shouldn't be explaining or defending anything. That's my job. I make this very simple. I tell the cleaners, the more you talk, the more trouble you can get into. That's not because they're bad people. It's because words create expectations. And once expectations are created, someone can get upset, someone can feel misled, someone can lead a bad review. So less talking is safer. But cleaners are allowed to talk to clients about things like preferences or where they want things put away or what rooms matter most. And timing questions, like, is this okay? But that's it. Anything else gets handed off. And if a cleaner gets asked a question that they don't want to answer, I give cleaners a sentence to memorize. Not a suggestion, a script. I don't know, but I'll message the team and have them call you. That's the sentence that does three powerful things. It keeps the cleaner comfortable, it keeps the client calm, it keeps control with the business. But notice what it doesn't do. It doesn't say no. It doesn't explain, it doesn't argue, it doesn't guess. So nobody feels awkward. And I know some people think if the cleaner doesn't answer, the client will get annoyed. But that's not true. Clients actually feel better when the cleaner isn't guessing, when the cleaner isn't negotiating, and when the cleaner isn't stressed. But when a cleaner confidently says, I'll message the team and they'll call you, the client thinks, okay, this company's organized. So trust goes up, not down. And this is not something you explain later. I always tell my cleaners this before the first job. I say, if you ever feel unsure, that's okay. It means you should stop and call us. I want them to know that they're not in trouble for asking. I want them to know that they won't lose pay for flagging issues. And I want them to know that they're protected by the process, but only if they follow it. When cleaners act only as fulfillment, they feel much safer. Clients feel calmer. You stay in control, and problems shrink instead of explode. So this isn't about control, it's about clarity. And clarity is what makes subcontracting work. But when clarity is missing, this is the biggest mistake I see. A cleaner shows up, the job is worse than expected, they panic, but instead of calling you, they talk to the client. And they say, this should cost more. That's not included. I'm not doing that. I need more money. But the moment that happens, trust is gone. So this is the rule. Cleaners never discuss price, ever. If a client asks anything about money, scope, or changes, there's only one approved sentence. I don't handle pricing, but I can call the office and ask. That sentence protects you, the cleaner, and the client. And this part matters more than people realize. Sometimes cleaners arrive and think, wow, this is way worse than I expected. That will happen. It's normal. But here's what cannot happen. They cannot start cleaning. They cannot argue with the client. They cannot decide to leave without your permission, and they cannot ask for more money. So the cleaner's protocol is simple. If the job is much worse than expected when they arrive, first, they do not start cleaning. Second, call or text the office immediately to let them know about the situation. Third, take pictures so you can get a visual and begin to understand how much extra time or manpower is required. And lastly, wait for instructions. But don't create drama in front of the client. Just act normal. And if needed, it's okay to calmly say that this job may take longer than expected. And most of the time, clients know when they dupe you in these situations and don't exactly tell you the severity of the job because they think they might be able to get away with paying less. Now, why do we want the cleaner to not start working? Because if they haven't started, you still have control. So you can now call the client, ask them to pay more, and possibly send help or split the job into 2 visits. But once cleaning starts, the leverage is gone. Now you're stuck. Now you're reacting instead of leading, and you're hoping instead of deciding. So you need a second layer of protection, and this rule alone will save you thousands. No pictures, no pay. Pictures are not optional. They are proof. They're protection. They're quality control. They're your insurance policy. I require close-up photos of sinks, toilets, tubs, showers, stoves, baseboards, blinds, ceiling fans, under beds, under couch cushions. I think you get my point. But not just one or two, a lot of detailed photos. So before I send out payment, my virtual assistants review the pictures. No proof equals no payout. This removes arguments, it removes excuses, and it removes bad reviews. But even with a great system and great pictures, one careless sentence can still ruin a relationship. So the next rule, it matters more than people think. The word no destroys relationships. You never want to say the word no, and your cleaners should never say no. And anybody on your staff, your virtual assistants, nobody should ever use that word. When a cleaner says no, or I don't do that, what the client's really hearing is that this company is difficult to deal with. But the cleaner isn't the decision maker. So cleaners should never say no. Instead, they should just say, I can call the office and ask. That one sentence buys you time, it keeps you in charge, and it keeps the client calm. You handle the hard part. That's your job, not the cleaners. But once you accept that role, you also have to accept how the money works in a real business. So this next part is where people get uncomfortable. This part upsets people. Most subcontractors believe it should be a 50-50 split. But 50-50 only makes sense if the costs are 50-50. So let me be clear and fair. If it's 50-50, they should pay for half of the advertising, half of the insurance unless they carry their own, half of the apps that you use, half of any refunds you may need to give, and half of any chargebacks. And possibly they should be penalized for paying for bad reviews because they lower your conversion rate and drive up the cost to acquire customers. Now they don't want any of that, do they? But here's the irony. The reason they're working with you is because they don't know how or they can't afford to get their own customers. So you're not taking advantage of them. You're solving their biggest problem. But even when the deal is fair, risk and fear still shows up for the business owner. So this is the next question everyone asks. And people worry about this a lot. What if they steal my clients? Well, here's the truth. Clients don't want to manage cleaners. They want one number to call. But that only works if you stay in control. So cleaners don't talk price. Cleaners don't book future jobs. Cleaners don't exchange personal numbers. Cleaners follow your process. Cleaners sign a contract. Control communication, and client theft almost never happens. But protecting the relationship isn't just about control. It's also about how things look to the client. So this next rule is about optics. If a cleaner is frustrated, they don't argue, they don't complain, they don't call you in front of the client. They go to their car outside somewhere in private. But even if there's a problem, the client should never see chaos, so everything looks calm and professional. Because running a real business also means moving fast when problems show up. So here's a practical move I use all the time. So if I need same-day coverage or there's an emergency but nobody wants to rush for free, I offer same-day payout. Not every time, only when speed matters. And it works. Because this relationship only works with honesty. So I tell the contractors this. Some jobs will be easy, some will be gross, and some will take longer than expected. There are no quote visits, so surprises will happen. But that's why the protocol exists. If they can't accept that, this isn't the right fit. So at the end of the day, I really believe that alignment matters more than talent. And this system works because cleaners trust that they'll get paid fairly and you trust that they'll follow your rules. But trust doesn't come from vibes, so it comes from clear rules, written contracts, proof, consistency, and systems create trust. But when people struggle with subcontracting, they don't blame broken systems, they blame the model. So this is the truth most people miss. Remote cleaning businesses don't fail because subcontracting doesn't work. They fail because cleaners were allowed to negotiate. Rules were never clear. Proof wasn't required. Authority wasn't enforced. You don't need better people, you need better rules. And once the rules are clear, subcontracting stops being scary and starts being the main reason your business grows. If this helped, subscribe. And if you want my exact cleaner rules, photo checklist, and contractor agreement, they're linked below. I'm John Margalit. I'll see you in the next one.